specifically asked individuals, and our next speaker, Sue, is another one of these individuals, like people who work with the job seeker community, who work with people who are experience rich, to share advice with us. And Sue, you and I feel like we've known each other forever. I don't even remember where we met originally. I know it was on LinkedIn, but do you recall how we first started interacting?
Well, I got connected to you early in COVID because of Ken Lang, who I met through Absolutely Abby before COVID. It's amazing, Brenda. The minute that I connected with you, I found someone who also gives the how to what other tell you to do. And I thought, oh, this is a person I need to follow. Yeah. So like now we're going on a 3-year anniversary soon. I'm excited.
That's awesome. Well, I'm delighted to have you. So, Sue, for those people who don't know what you do, tell us a little bit about your business. Who do you help and what do you do?
I have a global mentoring practice. It means I work all over the world with people who are in transition at various levels, professional, senior to junior. So I'm experience rich like you. I've decided now I'm 50 with 7 decades of wisdom. That's the
I
best
love
way
it.
to talk about it. But I also help people because of my background in public health program evaluation. I really focus on show me the evidence. How do you get evidence? And that's what I'm going to be talking about today. I'm so excited. It's one of my most favorite topics. The most important thing, I'm the mentor with Pompoms. Next to you, I'm most invested in your success.
That's awesome. And are you doing a slide share today? Am I remembering correctly?
I
Or
am,
okay,
yes.
let's
I
go
will
ahead and
get
get
it
you
set
started
up.
with that in the background. And I'll just remind everyone as you're watching here today, if you're just starting to watch, we're going all day. We're going, well, 4 hours, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. today. And if you joined a little late and you want to get access to the playbacks and resources, just check out mellermarketing.com/lilrich, and then you can get access to them. All right, I'm going to add this to the stream here, Sue.
Good,
And thank you so
great.
much for, I love the branding color. You got my pink brand color in your deck. I'm like, yay, there's pink everywhere.
You'll see a lot more of it. Thank
All
you.
right. With
Thanks,
that said,
Brenda.
I'm going to pull myself off screen, Sue, and I'll see you in about 20 minutes, and go ahead and take the show from here.
Perfect. Thanks very much. Before we get started, tell me how you are about describing your results. I'm going to try to flip over to the LinkedIn chat. Actually, I'm going to do what Brenda taught me. I learned so much about doing on-the-fly performances from Brenda. What I want you to do is tell me, yeah, give yourself a 3 if you want to share your rating. No problem. I can describe my results. 2 is where a lot of us fall. I can do it, but I don't feel I'm good at it. And there are people who are like, nope, I can never do it, don't want to do it, can't do it, in whatever way makes sense for you. So I'm checking out the chat. If you go ahead and type them in, I'd love to know what you all are thinking about today. Do I have a lot of 3s or do I have a lot of 1s? Where are you on that? Oh, the chat is lively. I haven't even gotten to the bottom of it yet. All right, great. Looks like we have a few 2s, a few 3s. Thank you, Brenda, for your help on that. Terrific. As I said earlier, I'm here to help you with the how to what a lot of times others tell you what to do. A couple of weeks ago, I went into a dresser drawer where I keep important papers because I don't have a file cabinet anymore. And I found a photo stuck on the side. It's an important photo for me, especially because I don't keep a lot of printed photos anymore. I didn't realize it wasn't with my other photos. I didn't know it was a treasured photo until I opened it and found it. I'm sure this has happened to you. Have you opened up a briefcase or a purse you might not have used for the past 3 years? Maybe you put something away in a not usual place and then suddenly you found it again. That's what today I'm going to talk to you about, uncovering your evidence and then using it. Just like Joey, I'm giving you the one takeaway. It's not about the activity. It's about the achievement. That might be your result, your accomplishment, or if you want my real quick phrase, it's not the doing, it's the done. So let me remind you of where we're going. First, we're going to start with a talk about what the career path has looked like for you, me too, who are experience rich. Then we're going to excavate your evidence. We're going to talk about quantifying it because that's where the big challenges come in. And you're going to have a solution. And by the time we get here, you're going to already be saying, but Sue, you promised in your title a formula. Yes, a title and a worksheet. So let's start with the career path. We know that we've come from a variety of different ways to where we are today. What's hard, though, is that people feel that I work with tell me, Sue, I'm a generalist. I've had so many different parts in my career, 20 years, and there's no common thread. Other people tell me, Sue, I'm too well done. I'm not valued. I'm being sidelined. Even though clients are happy with what I produce, I'm still producing my results. I'm a knowledge worker. I don't have sales. I don't have numbers. I don't have percents of targets that I reach. What mistake that many of us make is we're not describing our results effectively. Joey already told you this, and I'm here to tell you this too. When you talk, you have to, or write, you have to talk to the other side of the conversation, the hiring manager, the boss that you want to get a promotion from. But you feel that it's difficult because you're weaving together your story over time with lots of different twists and turns in it. Today, we're going to talk about excavating your evidence and going up to the top of this mountain, maybe. Usually when I talk about the whole mountain. That's your professional presence. That's what we first see about you on LinkedIn, what we see in person. Even in the comments, we get a sense of you. But we're going deep right to the evidence, where it is, pulling it out, and then importantly, helping you process it in a way that you can use those results to show what you accomplished in a way the other person on the other side of the conversation can understand it. I know what this word means and I use it a lot, and it still makes me feel a little angst when I see it written like this. Big letters all close together, quantify. I, Sue, never had sales targets in my career. But what about if I propose an expanded way of thinking about it? Give you some breathing space in here. I'm going to show you how to do this. And it's two components. It's actually not numbers that you quantify, but you quantify what you did and what you produced. That makes you jump off the page. I'd love to jump out of the screen, but maybe jump up on the screen and make people's ears perk up when they hear you talking, because it gives dimensionality to you as a professional. Here's the framework I want to show you before we get into the formula. There's two aspects to quantifying. One is what I call your intellectual property, your work products, and I'll talk about intellectual property in a minute. And that's what you produced of the two things I mentioned earlier. And the context is what you did. So when we go on to work products, intellectual property, the way I define it, is that is your expertise that you bring into your work. Things that you create, things that you add to, that all become work products. It may belong to a company, but it has your stamp in it. It has your expertise in it, and it is something that you own. And work products are usually done in two ways. You either write something or you say something. I know I'm making it basic, but it's writing and speaking. Writing, myriad documents. Here's just a few of the kinds of documents that I know all of you that I've worked with produce in some fashion. And there's a lot more. If you think of something important, send me a DM on LinkedIn or message me and let me know. I love to make this GIF longer. When it comes to speaking, we don't always realize how much our expertise of our work is being transmitted. Briefings, maybe you're doing training or mentoring. You might be giving comments to the press. Some of you have client meetings, community engagement meetings. Even the chat box real estate is a form of speaking your expertise. The second part of our framework is context. And I call this the use your schooling, really, because think about why we need to provide context and how. I'm taking you to elementary school and reminding you there's adjectives and adverbs that you need to go back to using. Why? These are the kinds of sentences I see on people's resumes, or they tell me when I first meet with them, or I see on LinkedIn. I managed contracts. A lot of times people are writing the doing, not the achievement. Remember, it's not the activity, it's the achievement. I don't know whether we forget to include our adjectives and adverbs or whether we're taking a shortcut for what we learned in school. But look at the way adjectives and adverbs can add color, and not just the red color I made here. Here's a phrase that I put in, has no numbers in it, but when I added a portfolio of, you suddenly see complexity to the contract management that this person did. The second part of using your schooling, now I'm taking you to post-secondary school. I call these measures of action, beyond the who, what, when, where, why, and sometimes how that we are supposed to answer when we give responses or do our writing. And these measures are volume, frequency, duration, continuity, and periodicity. So by now, I hope you're saying to yourself, okay, Sue, I'm ready to go. How can I demonstrate my value? Because now we're going to do it. I'm giving you both a formula and a worksheet, and I'm going to go through the formula line by line and then show you how it breaks out using the worksheet so that you understand you've got the how right in front of you. First, you're going to choose an action verb that leads to the outcome. Everybody knows about action verbs. There's lists of 80 action verbs, 66 action verbs, but not every action verb is equal. You want to choose an action verb that leads to your outcome. I already hear you saying, but Sue, I don't have an outcome. Your outcome is what do you contribute to in your organization, to the work that your group is doing. As a solopreneur, you may be contributing work to a body of expertise. And that outcome then defines how and in what way your action verb works. The how usually comes the next, and the how encompasses your role: writing, analyzing, speaking, writing. And the for whom is who you're doing it for. And it's important to specify because it's different if you're writing for your boss than for a client, than for a community organization. And sometimes people will put in a with what tools, especially if there are certain skills or certifications that an employer, potential employer may be looking for. So let's apply this formula. This is a before that I call collaborative events facilitation was this person's result. Assisted in the co-design of cultural events with teachers and the recreation center. Here's how I rewrote it. Now, I didn't have any content from this person, but I added it in to show you, and we'll break it down in the formula. Yes, is it 2 more lines? Yes, but just think that could be the lines, the extra lines that will get you the job. So the action verb is delivered. Remember what he said? Edward said, assisted. The outcome is what Sue made up, but I know that they produce more than one event, 5 cultural events over a school year. The how is more of his role, co-designing and producing, in this case I said by a team of 9. It's implied there was no for whom there. It's implied that it was being done for the school, the students, the parents. That would be expected. And the how, even though there wasn't a tool, there was a process described of how they use inputs on in their monthly meetings when they're planning and evaluating for the next event. So that's how it looks in the worksheet. And just to remind you, this is what I went from before and after. I know that was really quick. I understand that, but I wanted to give you an introduction to understand why this is so important. Sue will never open a dresser drawer and find a photo again, I hope. And you will never leave your treasures behind. This is your evidence. I hope that you're already thinking of one that you want to work on, but you'll be aware of how to demonstrate what you're doing. I know you're already reflecting on, oh, intellectual property. I write things. I speak things. I have those things. I didn't even know I did. And the context, what adjectives and adverbs can you add? What I'd like you to do in the next 24 hours is take one of your results, make the transformation. You'll be getting these resources, and I'm going to show you in a minute how to access them, and I'll put links in the chat when I'm done here. If you give me your before and after, you'll definitely get feedback from me. But if you do it in the next 24 hours, it will reinforce your learning, because I also learned this from Brenda. I learned so much from Brenda. Post in LinkedIn, a short post. Remember, Ken told you have a lot to post about? Post about today's session with me. Just one key takeaway. And hint, hint, I already gave you the key takeaway. It's not about the activity, it's about the achievement. And don't forget that LinkedIn loves visuals. So you could show your before and after if you're brave, and that's fine if you don't want to. But I'm also going to give you a link to a slide, the image of the first slide that I had, the title slide, that you can put with your post. But make sure to tag me in it so I can amplify it for you. So here's the resources. You're going to have a package that has all these links in it. I'm giving you a complete slide doc of what I just presented that has 7 before and after examples across different kinds of categories of workers. You'll get a link to the Google Sheets document that has the formula, the worksheet, and the example we just went over, so you won't have to think, now, what did Sue put in there? And you'll get the link to the title slide that you can use if you want. I put a QR code that has all of these links, and then the next one I'm going to show you. And I'll put the link for all the resources packaged into one quick link for you to get any of the documents that you want. Here's my offer to you. If you can submit a before-after result through this Google form, you can see the whole form is here. You only have to fill in your name, your email, and your before and after. By Monday evening, you'll get feedback from me and a one-to-one meeting of 30 minutes, any way that I can help you move forward. I always like to give image credits, even though a lot of the places provide us free images, because these images these photographers have given me access to have made this presentation come alive. I love to connect on LinkedIn if we're not already connected. I'm in a variety of places. I still have Clubhouse there, but don't get on as much. But thanks, Ken, for bringing it up. I want to point out that I have 2 short courses. They're free. The first one will take you completely into what we started today with providing and using and developing your evidence and using it. And it takes you from starting on how to tell your story in a way that conversation can be understood on the other side, all the way to how you put it up on your LinkedIn profile. That can be done. It's 4 workbook lessons. It's self-paced until I open the cohort in September. And then we have a second course that I do with Ron Anderson, where we curated resources on using your professional presence. And that's for cover letters, interviewing, assessment tests, branding, and networking. So any of these are free. You can get on Teachable. You'll have these links to join. I would welcome being able to do this with you. And Brenda, I ended up finishing just about at my hopefully expected time. So I'm back.
You were perfect. And there's so much great information in here. And as you were, I was like trying to write down notes and grab screen captures. And then you said, oh, I'm going to share your slide deck. I'm like, okay, good. Because I write fast and I can get a lot of information and kind of, but I'm like, I know I'm not, and everybody's the same, not everybody's the same way with processing that information. So I'm so glad that you're making your slide deck and your resources available to all of us. So I want to pull myself back on screen, but I also, in radio terms, it used to be called hitting the post, when the DJ would talk until the singer started playing and then they would stop talking. And I was telling all of my presenters, including Sue, I said, plan on about 20 minutes and then I'll come back in and we'll facilitate a Q&A. And it was like just as we were rounding the corner into 12:19, it was just starting. So you timed everything perfectly. I just want to commend you on that, Sue. So great job. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move into some Q&A for Sue. So if you do have any questions for Sue about any of the resources or information that she shared up on screen, don't be shy. Go ahead and drop your comments below. And you can use the I'm asking for a friend. You can say, my friend was wondering about how to list something on their resume or use your technique to incorporate. You can use that approach if you feel a little nervous about asking questions, but don't be shy. And I also want to remind everyone to please feel free to introduce themselves in the chat if you have not already done so, because there might be hiring managers and recruiters watching. Like what I did for leading up to the event, Sue, I went through my network and I invited everyone that was like a recruiter or had recruiting someplace. I'm inviting them in. So there may be people that are watching, the readers, if you will, not the lurkers, but there might be people that are watching in here as well. So I did see somebody about the QR code, and I admit, Susan, I did the same thing as you, Sue. When you had the QR code on screen, I was pulling it on, and I think it was like too small, but I think it was probably because you were sharing a slide deck on screen.
Okay.
We couldn't see it. So yes, Sue will be making those resources available. I believe that slide deck is a part of what you're making available.
Right. I'm going to put there'll be one link that will take you to all those other, all the resources. I'll put it in the chat as soon as we're done. I'm going to need about 5 monitors now to keep, I don't know how you do it,
right?
Brenda,
Do you have like 2, or how many do you have right now?
I have 2 huge ones and I'm already contemplating a third, and I don't do any gaming. This is just about presenting, but yeah, made me laugh.
Whenever I see those people with the multi-monitor, I'm always like impressed. Hey, I'm going to ask our audience, anyone is watching, do you have more than 2 screens? If so, go into chat and tell us how many screens that you work off of. It's probably like the people that are in like programming or technology or gaming or things. But yeah. I like one of my nephews he's got like the uber large screen. It's almost like the size of 3 screens, but it's like one large screen. And I've even got like a TV mounted on the wall, and I have the thing now that you can like pull up you can use the screen share from your phone onto so technically I guess I have 3, but one is really not as usable as that. But yes, we will make sure to get everyone the resources. And by the way,
will come. And thank you, Susan Davis. She's a big supporter. And
yeah, she's awesome. Yeah, she's on our Friday
great.
calls. And
I also want to give a shout out, Brenda. I did send this out to my global network, and I know at least 3 of them are here, maybe more. I'm thrilled to see them joining, because the global world, Brenda knows this. That's why I asked her if I could join her VIP job seekers group originally, to figure out what my global network is seeing and where we're seeing more common areas coming. So I'm happy to see them on here as well.
That's awesome. I'm going through chat to see, who was the name? Did you say Maggie Moore?
For what?
Oh, I thought you said a specific name. I thought you mentioned
Susan Davis. Just Susan.
Susan Davis. Okay.
And the person who asked about links, yes, I'll put it in as soon as I'm off stage. I'm not trying to rush off, but
no, not at all.
Sure you have it. Great.
Yeah, and by the way, I did put the link back up on screen here again, and I'll drop it in the chat again if you want to register. And what I'm doing is I've asked all of the presenters, I have like a Google Doc with like the run a show, and I had them put their bio, their links, their resources, all the freebies they talked about, a list of their services if you're interested in learning more about them. And then I'm also going to chunk out all of the videos, because right now it's going to be from 11 to 3. That's like 4 hours long. Nobody's going to sit through a 4-hour, but maybe you want to watch Sue's playback specifically. So I'm going to chunk everything out into 30-minute segments. And that way you can watch Sue's video as you're watching the playback and looking through her resources. But you do need to register. Where's the link over there? mellermarketing.com/lilrich. Lil Rich, if you will. Sounds like a cartoon character. Lil Rich. He's a little rich guy, or maybe she's a little rich girl. I don't know. But LIL stands for LinkedIn Live, and the rich comes from my phrase, experience rich. So that's where that acronym is coming from. We're going to take a couple questions. Before we do so, I see Renee is in our green room, if you will. I'm going to pull Renee up on screen real quick just to say, hey, Renee, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Wonderful. I'm going to put you back inside the green room for now. We'll bring you back in just a few minutes, if that's okay. All right, perfect. So you see how I'm doing this like behind the scenes, and it's behind the scenes. And sometimes I pull the stage curtain away and I show you guys like what I'm doing, so you can see how the magic all is.
I've learned so much from your behind the scenes. That's been great.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear. So, all right, let's see if any questions or comments are starting to come in. We were talking about screens, and so many people are commenting no. And I see one from David. I use one screen and a 15-inch laptop. Barbara has four. Barbara, congratulations.
Yay.
You're
She
like an
gets
idol.
pom-poms. Yeah, I saw two people seem to have four. So yeah, I'm not competing with you. If I get three, that I don't know where I'm going to put them all.
And I think a lot of us are similar to Melissa, experience rich. I'm on the one screen. I just got on the one, not just got on, but you know what I mean? Like it's like enough. I don't need more than two screens that are on here. David, I don't know. I feel like I could use four screens. Sue, I think you could probably make use of them too, right? uh Thank you. And I see so many people watching. I want to give a shout out to Toastmasters right now, because when somebody says, hey, you've got a great speaking voice, I didn't just become a good speaker. I've always been an introvert at heart, like Kenneth was talking about earlier. And if you want to get better at skills, sometimes you have to apply to training and programs. And Toastmasters is one of the organizations that is really great for building up public speaking skills. So I got to give a shout out to them for the compliment on that. I do appreciate it. And I see a comment coming from Martina. Tina, thank you so
Oh,
much for
thank you,
watching.
Tina.
Thank you, Sue, for sharing very actionable steps with us today. We appreciate you watching, Tina. Yes, I see Melissa saying Lil Rich is my DJ name. Remember those things, Sue? It'd be like, what's your downtown Abbey name? And it was like the street you lived on, added the word ton on it, and
Yeah.
different iterations, things like that.
Well, Brenda, you're a lot younger than me. There's a comic book we grew up with called Little Richie or Little Rich, and his family was very wealthy and Archie wasn't. So I don't.
Yeah.
That's what I thought of when I saw Little Rich.
Wasn't Richie Rich? Is that the same
Richie
thing?
Rich, that's what it
Okay,
was.
now that you say that, I'm like, that kind of rings a bell. Like, where
Yeah.
am I
Well, Little
remembering
Rich
that
brought
from?
it right back to me. So you've definitely Melissa's right. You should keep that name. You got to like trademark it, or at least use a
Lil Rich.
hashtag for it.
Honestly, I just wanted an acronym that I didn't want to type in mellermarketing.com experience rich LinkedIn live-a-thon. Like, I didn't want to do that to anyone. Like, that's crazy. And I didn't want to just do LIL, because if I do other LinkedIn lives in the series, if you start typing it in, you'd go to the wrong page. So I figured Lil Rich would kind of be nice. And it's focusing on the rich element of things. And if we're job seekers, we're trying to get back to work to get some money in our pockets, so to speak. And we're playing up on the experience rich as well. So a lot of things that are kind of coming together on that. And I see Bev had asked, can you put the link in chat? Just did it, Bev. Thank you for asking, because I'm sure somebody else was like, I can't find it either. So that is now inside of chat. Hey, look at this, Sue. Meryl says,
yes, thanks, Meryl.
We're getting a little run up on our history on here as well.
Yeah.
All right. I don't see any additional comments or questions coming. I see a lot of conversation about the screens and stuff like that coming in. But as we start to wind down your portion of the conversation, Sue, can you remind, if there's folks that are interested in working with you, do you work with people one-on-one? And if so, could you tell us a little bit about your services?
I do. I work less and less with people one-on-one unless they've come through the course, especially for job seekers. I made the course free of charge so that everybody has access to it. The minute you start in my course and submit an assignment, you get live review meetings with me. And if you finish 3 or 4 steps, you'll get an individual meeting with me. And I also, for those people who've been through the course, have monthly office hours. So there's a lot of ways to work with me once you come with some of the background done already.
Wonderful. And I just pulled your LinkedIn up on screen over here for those that are watching on the live video right now, linkedin.com/in/Sue Griffey. And are you open to connecting with people?
I love connections. Please connect. If you do it in the next couple hours, I'm going to know it's the live-a-thon. I won't even ask you to write a message. Just connect, and I'd be happy to chat with you online on LinkedIn about how to get you started on the course. I do have a course page and I have a company page. So if you go to my SueMentors company page, you can find information there as well. But it's all in the link. And once you get into the slide deck, the last page is all my resources and the ways to reach me.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Sue. It's been such
You're
a
welcome.
delight, and love you're like the Poms. I love when you bring the Poms with you wherever you go. You bring the support and you bring this positive note to you. So thank you so much for sharing. And I know you'll be including your resources in the playback. So thank you
I
again
will
for doing that as well. All right.
immediately. Thanks again, Brenda. Take care, everyone.
All right.